Hello everyone, I'm going to tell you a little bit about our CAUL statistics dashboard that we have set up in Alma Analytics. I know some of the attendees at this webinar are not from academic libraries, so a little bit of background about the CAUL statistics. It comes around every year. The Council of Australian University Libraries has been collecting statistics from member sites since 1953. Since 2005, these statistics have been available online, and their purpose is for benchmarking and for comparison. So it's important that the definitions are interpreted consistently across the members. Libraries, however, have to figure out how to generate those numbers from various systems, and often in the past, some had very limited reporting functionality that was difficult to use. So those little conversation bubbles on the side of the screen of the slide there really illustrate what the experience was like for us at Bond with our previous system, where we would run a report, copy the SQL into an email that we sent to the person requesting it, so that next year we could look it up and see how did we run it last time. In 2015, we migrated from our previous system into Alma. And there were some key things that we wanted to get out of the new system. So we really wanted to reduce the time spent extracting statistics. We really wanted to minimize manual statistics recording. We wanted increased consistency of reporting from year to year, and to see what we had reported in previous years easily without requiring someone to log into the CAUL website. We wanted visibility at any time so that there was no need to ask someone for a report to be run. And we wanted to be able to reuse selected reports or analyses, as they're known in Alma Analytics, across other dashboards. In our previous system, recording the ULAN statistics, which is the reciprocal borrowing agreement between academic libraries in Australia and New Zealand, that had been very painful for us in the previous system, as we had no obvious place to capture institutional affiliations, nor whether they were staff or students. The available reporting tools were not flexible enough, and while they could be customised, it was just as easy to keep copies of SQL statements and run them at the right time of the year. But even that didn't help with these ULAN statistics, which then meant that someone had to spend a day and a half looking at the paper forms that people had filled in when they registered as reciprocal borrowers. We set up statistical categories in Alma to capture the home institution and the user type, so whether they were staff or undergraduate or postgraduate. And then we had to focus on data quality processes to ensure that the categories were correctly captured when reciprocal borrowers registered. Alma Analytics offers widgets that can be added to the home screen, and we set up some analyses to highlight problem records and display them in these widgets or in a report. So in that first image, you can see the one with the two red dots on it. The red dots indicate that that particular record is missing the user type and the home institution categories. And we could also see whether the expiry dates were recorded as the 28th of February. The arrangement is that when someone registers for this program, that they're eligible to borrow until 28th of February each year. In the bottom illustration, you can see there another analysis that we had set up, and this one was where the statistical category had been captured correctly, but the user group had been entered incorrectly. So we had different ways of approaching this and identifying the records that we had to follow up on. So another option, and this is the one that we're currently using, is the email report. And these can be scheduled to run and then be emailed to the appropriate person who will be actioning them. And in this one, you can see that same kind of information. It shows the user type, the home institution, and the expiry date. So the person who receives this report then has to review this once a week and go back and edit any of the records that are missing that information.
Let's take a look at the dashboard itself. So what you can see at the moment is the current interface when I log into Alma. In the next couple of weeks, a new user interface will be available, so it will look a little bit different to this down the track. On this home page, I've got some widgets turned on. So the widget that I mentioned for the data quality processes could have been displayed in one of these sorts of boxes on the page. The dashboard is accessible from the Analytics menu at the top of the screen, and this is the particular one that we're referring to. Now you can see that the dashboard has pages for the different types of data that we want to pull all together. So the one we're looking at the moment is the total loans and renewals, and I can choose which year I want to report for. So if I'm interested in this year or last year, I just select it from there and apply that. And the system goes away and brings back the reports. We have found it useful to make sure that our filters are displayed within the page, because that makes it much easier for people to understand what is going on with the actual report and what it's defining, and what things we may have excluded from some of them as well. If I go and have a look at the ULANs one, since we've been talking about that a little bit, you can see at the top I've got a report that gives us the total number of loans for a particular year. Once again, I can go and choose the relevant year to report on, so I can go back and look at previous years. And at the bottom of this page we have the total number of loans and renewals by institution, so I can easily go and have a look and see that the Southern Cross University, which is a near neighbour of ours, we have rather a lot of their quite a number of loans from that particular institution in this set. And you can see in this one we've put in a filter here that it doesn't include this particular primary identifier. That's because that is the barcode of a testing account, so we didn't want to muddy our reports by that. So that's why I mean by it's helpful to have the filters displaying on the page. So other sorts of things that we have in here, counts of how many we have in the reciprocal borrowers or community users and alumni who have registered to use the library. We can look at non-serial items and titles, and in this one we get to choose a date from when the item was received, so I will just make that January 2018, so apply that. So this one is now reporting on the total number of items and titles that were received before the 1st of January 2018. So we have 97,775 titles and 112,890 items. So the other pages here are fairly similar, but they're looking at items acquired, items withdrawn, and then the final page is our document delivery one. So we're using Alma resource sharing functionality integrated with Libraries Australia document delivery. Once again, we've got some partner names which are excluded, and these were also involved with testing, so we didn't want to count those in the statistics. So these are the items that we have borrowed from other libraries, and these are the statistics for items we have loaned to other libraries. We may do some work in the future to add some more visual sort of displays into this dashboard, and just to give you an idea of what's possible, we'll have a look at one of our other ones where we have some 3-year comparisons of loans and renewals set up, and we can add these sorts of graphs and charts into them. There is also another one which has a pie chart in it. So that gives you a bit of an idea of the sorts of things that we have available to us in the dashboards.
So the question then is, did we get what we wanted? Once the reports and dashboard were set up, they're ready to go whenever needed. There's no more reviewing paper registration forms. The data quality checking takes very little time, so that's a reasonable exchange in the amount of effort that was gone into for the ULAN's statistics in the past. We know that the numbers are generated the same way each year, so we have improved consistency. You can see that we have previous years visible. We have visibility for staff based on their roles in Alma. We can assign them access to look at any of the dashboards. and we can reuse those reports or analyses across different dashboards if we wish to. Any other Alma customers who are interested in having a look at our dashboard and the reports that it uses to see if it will help them are most welcome to have a look at the copies we have put in the community zone in Alma Analytics. It's under our Bond University folder in the institutions section. You will need both the dashboard and the reports folders. The dashboard makes use of the individual reports and they're linked up. I haven't tested copying the whole lot and seeing if the dashboard and reports all link up, but you're most welcome to go and have a look, try that out and see if that will be useful for you. I'd also like to say a thank you to UNSW, who back in 2015 shared a few of their CAUL statistical analyses. So a very big thank you to them. And that's it from me, and a very big thank you to you all for listening.